Again, you're not required to have your camera on. I will say though, however, on the midterm, I'm gonna most likely will require you to come in or to not come in, but to have your camera on. This just ensures that there's no cheating going around and all that stuff. So if this does become an issue, again, you could just let me know saying, oh, and some of us don't have proper camera working. So, but just know that for the midterm, I may ask you to have your camera on. That might be the only time I'm going to ask for that. For the remainder of the sessions, you don't have to have it on if you don't want to. Recommend to have a profile picture. I did say also on Tuesday, if it's possible for you guys to have like a picture of your face on the Zoom screen, just so I can get an idea of who you guys look like. If not, then on the Canvas page, if you guys want to upload a picture there, then that would also work. So again, get an idea of who you guys look like, just so that I can, get to know your faces a little bit. Mute yourself unless you have a question or ask to be a mute, because there is background noises. I'll do my best as well to keep my dog out of here, my room. And, so just make sure that if you are in a loud environment, to just make sure you're muted. Okay. And again, unless you have a question or I asked for you to mute, then you can unmute yourself. If you have any connectivity issues, with technology, it's like always all over the place. Feel free to exit the meeting, try to come, fix the problem, and then try to come back in. If you still experience connectivity issues, feel free to just email me, and then you could just, don't come back, and then you could read the recording of the class lecture later. If I get disconnected, try to wait maybe 5 minutes. If I'm not back in 5 minutes, then just essentially the class is over, and then you could just view the recording once I'm able to record the lecture and upload it to Canvas. Okay, just because again, don't want you guys to be sitting here waiting and waiting, and so I think 5 minutes is an appropriate time to just assume that I may not come back. So. And then this is the new information that I was getting asked about. And to be honest, I was confused myself. So I did get clarification on this. It's in regards to these meetings, okay? So this meeting, when you log into or look at the class schedule at the SMC website, right? It says flexible with meetings, if anybody's paid attention to that. What it means is that these meetings are optional, okay? And this is the information that was a little confusing. So it's optional for you guys, not for me. I have to be here, but you guys don't have to be here. I want you to be here, I do, but yeah, I understand, and the university understands that, sometimes we have other things going on and we may not be able to make it to these Zoom sessions. So that's why they created these classes where I'll have live Zoom sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12:45, to 2:05. But if you can't make it, it's okay. That's why I'm recording the sessions, all right? And I know some students, they do really well fully online classes. So if you personally feel like, you know what, I don't think I need to be in a live Zoom meeting to do well in the class, then just view the recordings, make sure to be active on Canvas and do the work. Because if I see that you're not active, then I probably will drop you, okay? But, this also was created for the students who don't do well fully online, and that's why we have Zoom meetings, so that you could actually have a teacher here, talk to you, have questions, etc. Okay, so hopefully this, for the students who were asking, who were confused, again, these sessions, you can attend them. You don't have to. They're optional for you. I will be here every Tuesdays and Thursdays, even if there's one student. I will be here. So I just want to put that out there, because I know that some students, they can't make it on certain days or whatever. It's okay. I'm not going to dock you points for not coming in. I only, again, if I see that there's no activity from you, whether it's on Canvas or attending the Zoom session, then I most likely will drop you. Okay, so hopefully that does clarify that in regards to these meetings. And if you're still confused, feel free to ask me before you leave. Again, I was a little confused myself, so I had to ask. So I was like, so do they have to come? Do they not? How do I take attendance? How does this work? So yeah, hopefully that kind of answers it. If not, again, let me know. And let's see, some new updates and reminders. So this is something I did not go over on Tuesday, but they did remind all instructors that student absences for religious holidays. So I will not be penalizing you if you're not able to make it to the class, or maybe you're having trouble viewing Canvas due to a religious holiday. Also, if you need to reschedule the midterm exam or any of the other exams, I'm just going to have the midterm. But if you need to reschedule it for a religious reason, you just have to let me know, and then I could always work with you to schedule it on a different day. Same thing goes with assignments. If you need additional time to complete an assignment or turn in the work, and it does, again, interfere with the day of the religious holiday, then again, just let me know and then I can work with you. Okay. For students in the disabled student programs and services, please let me know if you need any accommodations, because I can't actually ask you. It's against the law to say, hey, do you need the services? Hey, are you have any learning disabilities? I can't ask it. You have to come forward and let me know. So please, anyone here, if you guys need any accommodations, then just please let me know. And this includes like extra time on your exam, extra time on your assignment. Maybe you need a specific format. Maybe the color's a little off. Maybe blue is not working for you. I can switch it to a different color. You just have to let me know. The Chromebook loaner program. If you personally feel like you would need to get a Chromebook, please let me know. You can email me and then I will put in the request. Usually they process it fairly quickly and it takes a couple of days to where they give you directions and instructions of how to get your Chromebook. And then lastly, attendance, kind of going back to like the meetings and stuff like that. So any student not in the Zoom meetings or not participating within 2 weeks may be dropped from the class. Okay. So just as a reminder, and again, I will probably email you like, hey, Joseph, I haven't heard from you. Everything okay? Are you planning to attend my class? No, please drop. If not, I will drop you. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it for like the logistics part of it. Now we'll go into what today's lecture is. So here's the agenda for today. We're going to go over these 5 main topics. If anybody had the chance to look at the book, probably not because I didn't assign that, so it's okay. But we're going to talk about positive self-talk, fixed and growth mindset, which I think a lot of people have already heard about, college success, and then characteristics of a successful college student, and then visualizing success. Okay. I love this topic. I think it's super great. Again, I'm excited to see or read your journals when you guys define your own success, because it really does differ depending on the person. So just excited to go into this. So the first section of the book goes over the positive or the power of positive self-talk. This is a big thing because I myself was a big time negative thinker. The book defines it: a negative thinker frames a situation so that the outcomes are self-defeating, and then a positive thinker are associated with positive actions and outcomes. So again, like I said, I was a big time negative thinker and I always didn't realize it. I used to say, oh, I'm just a realist. That's what I am. I'm a big time realist. But no, I was pretty negative. And one thing that I really enjoyed when reading this chapter is that it really talks about of how your mindset and, kind of like manifestation, where if all you think is negatively and all, it's your whole mind and your whole body and being is like negative, 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 then that's what you're going to attract. You're going to attract all these negative situations and outcomes. So when you think positive or negative, it could become a self-fulfilling prophecy, which basically what we expect can often come true. I don't know if anybody here has ever, maybe like, let's say you had a job interview, and then once you got the job interview, you're already thinking, I'm not going to get it. right? I'm not gonna get it. I'm gonna bomb it. Like I already know I'm not gonna get it because I'm not good at da da da, or I'm really bad at interviewing, or maybe it's not an interview. Maybe it's like a presentation. Like, oh, I'm really bad at presentation. I know it's gonna go terrible. So when you start thinking like these kind of negative thoughts, it really, you start often thinking like you're gonna mess it up already, which means chances that you may actually will mess it up because you're kind of causing this like negativity of I'm gonna mess it up, it's gonna go terrible, it's gonna go all bad, and then you just stop trying to make it even better. You're just like, well, I'm not going to get this job. So why prepare for the interview? Or presentations, I'm already bad at it. Why even like take the effort to practice? Because you start to believe that it's going to go bad. So anything you do isn't going to make a difference. But it does, that's the reason why you want to shift your mind to more positive thoughts of saying, okay, maybe I'm bad at presenting. What can I do to help me get a little bit better, right? Instead of just saying I'm bad at it, I'm not going to try to make it better. I'm just going to, fail automatically. So when you start off thinking that you will mess up the task, more chances that you will. So you don't try hard enough to succeed on whatever the task is. You tend to attract people that are very negative, or you won't attract people at all, like any support, because you're just going to be festering in your own negativity. And then oftentimes you don't perceive these results like are good enough. So, for example, let's say you do go to the presentation and it actually ends up doing really well. You're like, wow, actually, I got some good feedback here. Then you start thinking, oh, you know what? It's probably because of luck, or it's probably because the people were really nice. Even if the result was good, you still think that it wasn't because you were good, and you don't think positively about it. You just think, oh, it's out of luck, or it's because the other people were good and I wasn't good. So sometimes that even happens themselves. So even if the outcome is good, you yourself still think of it negatively. Okay. And then over here, we do what I feel like, I don't know if anybody has ever also experienced this. When you are around positive people, you tend to attract more positive people. And when you're around negative people, or you yourself are negative, you tend to attract very negative people. Okay. Because we tend to be around the people that make us, feel the same way. I myself have gone through this and had to really talk to people and say, you know what, you're not good for me. Okay. You complain about everything, and, you're just so negative about life. And they probably are going through something, right? Usually people that are sometimes very negative, they are personally going through some issues that are happening in their life. So you definitely always want to assist them and provide them resources. But at the same time, you have to put yourself out of that. You have to say, I don't want to be in this negative relationship. I don't want to be in this negative space and environment, because that does bring you down. You yourself start to feel a little less. You yourself start to feel maybe even depressed, more anxious, because you don't have this support and this positivity around you. Okay. You may not be aware of all your negative thoughts, and then how they could affect your life. However, taking some time to understand your own thought patterns, you can challenge those irrational negative thoughts and replace them with more positive, optimistic, and empowering messages. Now, I'm not saying, because life sometimes is hard, and I'm not saying like if life is hard, you're going to be all like, yeah, I'm so happy that my car broke down and, in the middle of the freeway. Like sometimes, like, it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. Like if you're angry about it, if you're upset about it, feel it. But what I'm saying more is like, don't just stay in that space, right? Like if you're angry at the moment, if you're sad at the moment, feel it, talk it out, write it out. But, for the next couple of days, you don't want to stay in that space. You want to think, okay, it happened. I was upset about it. What could I do next? What are some other things I could maybe think about that are more optimistic, more positive? What are some people that I can surround myself with that it can get me out of this space? Okay, because again, I understand life is hard, and again, we may go through these challenges, but you want to make sure that you're able to move forward. And if you can't do it alone, that's where you want the positive people, the positive supporters in your life. So this is a great section. I definitely recommend reading it. You'll learn a lot. And again, I think I'm a big part of manifestation. Like whatever kind of energy you put out there, you get it back. I know some people may not believe in that, but I do, and I've seen it firsthand, and why I had to remove negative people out of my life, and why now I feel I'm a little bit more positive than when I did when I was a lot younger. Okay. So that's what the first section talks about. Really, really love it. And then going into positivity as well, continuing with that, positive affirmations. I don't know if anybody actually does this. I do. Not like, all the time, but more so when like I'm getting ready for a date, for example. I don't know, or like a big presentation in front of like my bosses. I'll get up and I'll be like, Angie, you bomb, you good, you are awesome. And that's what these positive affirmations are. It's to remind yourself what kind of person, what kind of good person you are, what makes you feel good. I did put a little picture on the background of little post-its. Some people like to put post-its like around their walls to like kind of help with that. So positive affirmation for people who may not be aware. These are statements that can help you challenge and overcome self-sabotaging and negative thoughts and sabotaging thoughts. This is such a big thing, especially I think for younger people, also people of color as well. You sometimes, after so many years of also hearing negative thoughts, maybe you were a positive person, but other people kind of brought you down. You start to believe it yourself, right? With these positive affirmations, you start to now trying to remind yourself, what kind of person you are, or what kind of person you want to be, and try to, again, get away from those negative thoughts and be a little bit more positive with yourself. When you repeat them often and believe in them, you can start making positive changes. So it reminds me, I don't know if anybody's seen that song. Oh my gosh, I think it was like a Nicki Minaj song. It's like on TikTok. It's like a song where they like, I'm da da da, I'm da da da. And it says like sometimes you just need to remind yourself, like, I am that badass person. I am that tall person. Like internally, you're like, I'm a tall person. I'm a great person. Just so you can feel it yourself. Because sometimes some people just won't tell you, because some people are envious, right? So sometimes you have to tell yourself these positive things. And I know sometimes it could be uncomfortable because you're just like, wow, I'm complimenting myself, like how conceited or selfish or whatever. But it's good because it makes you feel good, which internally gives out this really good energy, which people tend to be liking and want to be around more. Now, how to create your own positive affirmations. So make it personal, whatever that is, whatever you're feeling right now, and if you're feeling lousy, like what can you say to yourself to get you to not feel lousy, So what are some words or statements, which is why I really like the quotes of the day, because things like that can help you remember, like, okay, what is going on in my life right now? What can I do to make it a little bit better? So you have to look internally, make it personal, what's happening right now, and then what can you do to make it more positive. Keep it positive, right? Use present tense. So I am persistent. I am becoming more successful. I am making this amount of money. I am confident. You want to keep it in the present tense. Not I will, but I am. I can. Those kinds of things. And then lastly, be realistic. Okay, you want to, you could try to be really honest with yourself and be real with it. Don't try to come up with these affirmations that you feel like you can't yourself believe them. Okay. You want to, again, especially if you're new to these affirmations, start them really simple. It could literally just be like, I am an amazing sister. I'm an amazing college student. I'm an amazing, friend. So, try to keep it really simple and realistic. And then I did get some questions about the quote. So yes, I did choose one quote. I got a couple of them, so I'll give you guys points regardless. But you'll find out at the end whose quote I chose. If I didn't choose yours this week, I will put those up next week as well. Okay, so this is a mindful reflection. I wanted to include this because I think it could be really helpful for those times that you really have terrible days, and you need to again remind yourself of like what are these days for? What's the purpose of living? Because sometimes you just have one of those terrible days. I personally had a terrible day on Monday. I really did. I had a student yell at me and it was not okay and it was not pretty. And I kept telling myself, like, why am I in this job to get yelled at? Like, no, that's not why I did it. I was very upset. So I don't know if everybody's ever heard about the rose, thorn, bud kind of reflection, but pretty much you share like one highlight of your day of what happened. The thorn, or so that would be the rose. The thorn is like in a challenge that you experience or like the negative that you experience for that day. And then the bud is something new that you look forward to. I'm going to put this on the Canvas website. I think it's super helpful. It helped me on that day that I really felt like really, really bad. So definitely recommend it. I think it could be really helpful if you like to journal and just reflect back. I'm not going to make it an assignment. It's more just for if you want to use it. So I wanted to provide you with some examples based on that day on Monday. So my rose, I found parking. Okay. Which I know some people are like, wow, that's your rose. But yes, I found parking. You don't understand. Finding parking in LA or, in the valley is hard. So to find parking and in a shaded spot, it was perfect. And I just like rolled up and I found it. I was like, oh my God. So that was really good. Second is I got to see my work bestie. I have it, obviously we have Zoom meetings, but it's not the same. So I got to actually go to campus on Monday and it was my first day back and I got to see my work bestie. So, and then I got some notes here. So, oh, nice. Some people have actually used this. Good. Oh no. See, okay, it's okay. Some days you will take you a while to find parking. Some days you won't. Yeah, I've had that 2 hour looking for parking and then you give up. And then I was actually employee of the month for August. So I got a little mug and I was really, really happy. So these are some things that were highlight and they were positive and I really was happy about them. So those are my rows. For the thorn, it was that upset student, you know, that upset student that yelled at me and I didn't like it and it was upsetting and then it was not a good time, right? So that was definitely my thorn. And then also the amount of work outreaching to students. My job does require calling a lot and sometimes it's like they don't call back, so it's just a lot of unnecessary work. And then my bud was, since this happened on Monday, was that I was going to teach at SMC, right? So I was very excited. This is what I was looking for on Tuesday. I was like, Monday maybe it wasn't the best, but guess what? On Tuesday, I was going to get to teach at Santa Monica. So I was already looking forward to that. And then also what I can help get improved was just training protocols. Like with the situation with the student, okay, now that I know this happened, what can I do differently for it not to happen again? Okay. So again, great mindful reflection, recommend. And you don't even have to like actually write it down. You could always just think of it in your head. Like these thoughts came to me when I was driving home and I thought, okay, what is my rose for the day? What was the thorn? What was my bud? So sometimes you don't have to write things down. You could just really visually think about it in your mind, right? To help you remind yourself of, life sometimes isn't the best. You may have really bad moments, but there's also good moments as well. Now, fixing growth mindset. Here are just the definitions that the book provides. So, fixed mindset is the belief that abilities are mostly innate and interpret failures as a lack of necessary basic abilities. And a growth mindset is the belief that they can acquire any given ability provided they invest effort to study. In the next couple of slides, I'll kind of show examples of these two. Is it possible to change from a fix to a growth? Yes, it could happen. Obviously, it's on you, and also the people around you could definitely impact that. So, altercations in mindset could be achieved through praising the process through which success was achieved. Praise can foster a growth mindset and positively impact student motivational levels. Okay, so it is possible to change. Right now, in the next couple slides, you guys will see the examples, and then you guys could, just by reading them, you can see which one you're in. Are you more of a fixed mind person or growth? If you're fixed, then you know, what can you do to maybe help you go into the growth mindset? So let's see here. Okay, so here just a little picture for everyone to see the differences. So the growth is the yellow little bubble thing cloud, and then the fix is like the little blue fix cloud. Okay, so for the first one, a growth mindset will look more at embracing challenges versus avoiding challenges. Okay, and these could be really small challenges or it could be really huge challenges. For me, again, I was always so nervous to present. I hated it. I still, to be honest, do. I have to do it in certain capacity, but I don't like it. And when I was younger, I would even avoid classes. Like I would purposely look at the syllabus and be like, does it have a presentation? Does it have a presentation? If it had a presentation, I would drop it. That's how much I wanted to avoid this challenge because I really could not do it. I was just like, I can't do it. I don't like it. You know, with time, I started to realize, okay, there's going to be a point that I can't avoid this. And it did happen. There was a class I had to take for my major, and I needed to take it. If not, I wasn't going to graduate. And they require us to do presentations. So I was just like, I guess I'm going to need to face my fear and embrace this challenge. And I embrace it every time I have to present. Every time I have to present, it makes me nervous. I don't like it till this day, like I said, but I'm embracing it. I'm not letting it overcome it, you know? If I did, then I wouldn't be a teacher right now. If I did, I wouldn't be presenting with over 500 students for orientation. You know, I wouldn't be able to get a lot of the opportunities without facing that challenge. Okay? So that's the first one. Second is that you persevere in the face of failures. Okay, so even if you fail at something, you still kind of get up and do it again. Resiliency is a big part of that as well. That's more of a growth mindset. And then a fixed one is that you give up easily. You fail once and then that's it. You don't pick it up again. You're just like, I failed it. Who cares? Move on to the next. Um, this, I think, is very important for like majors. If you were here on Tuesday, I talked about that I work a lot with STEM majors, people in engineering or computer science or sciences in general. A lot of times these students fail like math, or the first year they just bomb, and then they automatically are like, this isn't for me. And they just quit and they decide to go do something else. And I always tell them before they decide to switch, I'm like, are you switching because you're done with your interest in this major, or is it because you failed your math class and that's why? And most of the time it's because they failed that one math class and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I tell them, okay, well, you know, with engineering specifically, failure is always key to success, you know. And I think hopefully at one point you guys have heard this, like, you know, a lot of people who are very successful, they failed at one point or another before they were able to be successful, right? Because they were able to persevere. They didn't decide to quit after they failed. They would find other ways to figure out how to, you know, not fail again. And if they did fail again, they're like, okay, well, I learned something. Let's go ahead and try this other method, or let's do this other thing to get to where I need to be successful. So sometimes you may have those times where you may want to quit something because you did fail. And there is always a balance of it. I like with these students, sometimes I tell them, okay, well, if you've been failing this math class for 2 years, then yeah, maybe at this point, let's consider something else. But if it's your first time failing the class, it's normal. It's okay and it's normal. And you want to make sure to get up and do it again. Okay. So perseverance in the face of failures versus giving up easily. Third is talents and abilities can be developed. That's what the growth mindset thinks. And then a fix would say talents and abilities are fixed. And I know some people think about like singers, right? They're like, oh well, some people are naturally born with this talent of singing. But I still tell them, like, yeah, obviously they're great singers and you could tell just by their voices. But majority of them, even if they're naturally have this singing talent, a lot of times they themselves have to still practice at it. And they have a voice coach to perfect it a little bit more. So some people who are fixed say, I'm not a good singer, that's that. But a growth person will say, I'm not a good singer right now, but if I maybe practice at it, get a voice coach, put some auto tune on it, then I could be a singer. So again, talents and abilities can be practice, can be developed if you practice at them and nurture it. That's what a growth mindset thinks versus a fix. It's just like, oh, they were naturally born with this talent and that's that. Focus on the process, not the outcome, is a growth mindset. And then a fix is that you just focus on the outcome. Now, next week, we are going to talk about goals. And as much as I love goals, I always tell people it's not necessarily the outcome of the goal, but it's the journey getting there. Okay. And that's what the growth mindset is. It's the focus on the process, the journey before you're able to make that goal. Versus fix, all you're thinking about is meeting that goal and not really thinking about the journey. And you want to think about the journey because that's where you get a lot of growth. That's where you're able to learn a lot and practice and develop new skills. So focus on the process, not the outcome, versus just focusing on the outcome. And because I know I'll be running some out of time, but here again, you could look at this a little bit later about the differences. I don't know if anybody here could relate to some of these, or maybe do you think you're more of a fixed mindset person, more of a growth? And it's okay if you are more fixed, maybe you don't fall under all of these, maybe just a couple of them, but what can you do to kind of make yourself more of a growth mindset? And then I see some comments in here. So hard work beats talent. Yes, it does. You're right. And I never heard of that, but that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, you got to put your best foot forward because there is a lot of people that are very talented out there and don't make it and don't be successful, right? And then the people that are putting their best foot forward, taking these challenges, working hard, they're the ones that make it. You're right. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, some of you got, oh, from football. Oh, nice. Good question. So can the mindset fluctuate, or are you just born with your current mindset? So it could fluctuate. Yes, it really can. Again, it could be based on other people kind of putting these thoughts in your head, like other influence can definitely change whether you're a growth or fixed mindset. But if you are currently, let's say you are more growth, sometimes with life and experience, that could easily switch you to a fixed mindset. Yeah, so it could fluctuate. Again, when I was a like high school student around that time, I was more fixed. Like I said with the presentations, right? I didn't want to do presentations. I avoided that. But as time went on and I started to grow, and I said, if I'm really going to grow, if I'm really going to grow, like really grow and learn, I need to be more okay with these challenges. I need to change my fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And sometimes it'll take time. I don't expect you to switch from fixed to growth in like a day. It took me years to finally say, okay, I need to change the way I think if I want to be successful, if I want to get these opportunities. So. And then here's another picture that I really liked, because this one could be just a lot of information. So I thought maybe this could also just make it a little bit easier to understand the differences. And I really liked it because the growth mindset, just think of it, it's more freedom, and then the fixed mindset is more limiting. And I think that's a great way to kind of see the differences as well. Again, a lot of these we kind of saw it in the other picture, but that the freedom versus limiting I think is really nice in how it could define the difference of growth and a fixed mindset. I also like the one right here where it talks about criticism and feedback. Okay, a lot of times we may avoid certain situations because we don't like to be criticized or we don't like to get any feedback, which is why, presentations or going to interviews and things like that, where you potentially are getting judged and getting this feedback. But feedback is great. Um, Nobody likes to be called out on these things that you need to work on, but they're doing it so that the next time it happens, right, then you don't do the same things again. You don't make the same mistakes again. You learn from them and you say, okay, this is what they told me I should improve on, and if I do, then the next time I go for the interview, then most likely I will get hired, right, because they gave me this criticism instead of me ignoring the criticism. So hopefully this again kind of puts it in perspective of the two differences. I really like this one, this picture as well, so that's why I wanted to include it. And I also really liked about the threatened by other success versus finding inspiration in other success. You will see, especially in like work, in the field of work, or even like in school, you'll see some people again jealous, some people being just like threatened by how well you're doing, and you'll know like, oh, this person's a little bit more fixed. Or maybe yourself, if you've ever seen yourself maybe feel a little threatened or a little like, I don't, and they're your friends over here like, oh, I got this like job and da da da, and you're just like, congratulations, but in your mind you're like, man, why did she get that job? I should have got that job, you know? So that's a fixed mindset, where you can't even find happiness in others and inspiration in others. You just kind of feel threatened. And then you kind of think like, why did this person get this opportunity and I didn't? So I thought that was really nice about the differences, because you might see that in your life. You might see that, or you might experience it and say, why do I feel threatened by this person? By their success versus finding inspiration. Ask them if you ever do feel kind of threatened by it or a little envious. Instead, just say, wow, like congratulations, and mean it, and say, what did you do to get to where you're at? Any advice that you can give me? That's more of a growth mindset. Okay, so moving on away from growth and fixed mindsets, we're going to talk about what college success is. So, what does success mean in college? In the book, it outlined these four main topics. First was exploring, and it said exploring many different subjects and discovering one's own interests. Second is meeting. So meeting a lot of interesting people, learning about different ways to live. This one I think I could definitely see and definitely agree with as when I went to college. Uh, it's about, and you'll hear that a lot, it's not necessarily so much about the material you're learning, but like the people you will meet, networking. I don't know if everybody ever hears about this, but networking, it's such a big component in college to be successful. I can say for a fact I am where I am because of the people I've met. Okay, because of the connections I met with these people. I got my first job because I was able to talk to someone and they were like, you know what, you seem great. How about, I mean, it wasn't like this exactly, but they were like, you're great. We're looking for someone. You seem like a great fit. You should, interview. And then I got the job. So meeting people. And I know, again, some of you, it might be out of your comfort zone to do that. In an online environment, it's a little bit more difficult. I understand that as well. But if you put yourself out there, and trust me, a lot of times, 9 out of 10, people are going to respond back. They're not going to be like, what, weirdo? No, they're going to relate. They're going to talk back to you because as human beings, we crave, like, what's the word? We crave like surrounding support systems. We crave that. We crave people and talking to them. So definitely encourage you for the next couple of years, whether it's here at SMC or maybe when you transfer or after you finish your degree and go to, a work and things like that in your career field. Put yourself out there, meet people. You'll learn a lot, learn about yourself, you learn about new things in life. That will get you great opportunities. So meeting definitely is a big thing about college success. Definitely agree with that one. Learning, how to make decisions and solve problems that are now related to a career, and then gaining the skills needing to get the job in life one desires. Okay? So obviously with the classes you guys would be taking, this one and then other courses, you guys will be getting the skills, preparing you to get whatever job afterwards, whether that's actual technical skills, right, or more social skills. Okay, because you'll gain both of them, right? So success in college, biggest thing is really to be involved, meet new people. I think that is why a lot of people actually do really well afterwards. Okay, so from here, I want to just get an idea of what characteristics you think like college students or successful college students have. If you want, you can look at the book. It's on the Canvas page 38. It gives you a couple of examples, but just to kind of put some out there. For example, some characteristic would be to exercise, right? Because that involves you taking care of your body. If you take care of your body, most likely you'll feel less stress, which most likely you'll do well in your class. Okay. So, what I want everyone to do is just in the chat, just put some characteristics of what you think a successful college student has. And again, if you want some examples or use some examples, feel free to look at the book on page 38. There's a couple of items in there like exercise or sleep. So I'll give you guys maybe 2-3 minutes or so to put in the chat. And then in the meantime, I definitely love to this picture right here about the iceberg illusion and that success is an iceberg, which what most people see is the outcome, and then they don't really see all the work that they put into it. Kind of reminds me, and I think it was Carlos that kind of mentioned this about the hard work and the talent, right? And sometimes people forget about that. They forget like, oh, this person went through this journey to get to this success. They only see the success and think, oh yeah, that's it. No, there's persistence, failure, sacrifice, disappointment, discipline, hard work, and then dedication. Great. I'm seeing a couple on there. Let's see. Creatures of connections, nice. Daniel, Brian, perseverance, yes. Jacob, motivation and drive, good. Tristan, time management, consistency. And then Leo with determination. Carlos with good time management. Yes, Maria with focus. Oh, focus. That's a good one. Yes. Maritza, positivity. Yes. Dennis, sorry. Confidence. Madison, discipline and focus. Nice. William, communicating. David, determined and Goro, and oh yes, goals for sure. Alexander, motivation, and then asking help when needed. Yes, Michelle. We didn't really talk about that, but you're right. Asking help when needed. It's one that I didn't mention before or talked about. Understanding if you need the help and you don't know, what answers or whatever, to ask for it. Yeah. Integrity. Ooh, that's a good one as well. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for all these. These are great characteristics. And obviously, if you want to read a little bit more, you can look at the book and it does outline them a little bit more. And, definitely use that to help you when you feel like you need help with becoming a successful college student. And then Cynthia, well-focused, never losing motivation. Yes. And when we talk about motivation, because I've seen that pop up right now, motivation definitely comes in cycles. I don't know if anybody's experienced this themselves. I know I have. Like, I'll be super motivated. I start the semester with like a planner, which I do have, you know. And then like halfway through, I forget about it. So how to have the motivation and keep it. And it kind of goes with discipline as well, right? And being focused. So great, great. I love it. Thank you guys so much for putting some of those characteristics in the chat. All right. And then the last thing that the book talked about was about visualizing success. So they talked about creating an image in your head. Well, first defining what success means, right? So again, in the next 2 weeks, I'll put a journal assignment, and you guys will define what success means to you, whatever it is. And then the book also just goes into that definition of success. Can you put that in one image? Because they find that when you visualize this mental image, most likely you'll have that focus, kind of like what Cynthia's talking about, and it most likely you will be successful because you have this image in your head, like, okay, this is what success means to me. This is this one little item. Once I know I meet this, then I'm successful. So I wanted to give you like 2 little images just to kind of give you an idea what that means. So for example, the first one's a puppy. And you probably wonder, okay, a puppy, what could this mean? So for me, I could be like, okay, this puppy represents me becoming a veterinarian. And when I become a veterinarian, that's when I know I'm successful. Okay. So it could just be as simple as a dog, right? And that defines me being a veterinarian. The one on the bottom, it's a house. Maybe you're like me, my definition of success is one day I will own a house out in the, country. So you just may want to visualize a house. And then once you meet that, you're like, I met it, I did it. This is the symbol, the mental image that I had in my head. So definitely encourage you, if once you define your success, what that means to you, to just maybe put it in an image and remind yourself, have it up on your wall, put it on your phone, to keep you focused. So when you meet it, like, I know I met this because of this image. Okay. So because we are running out of time, I'll just go over these information. The next is really about grades, which I think at this point most people should know. Do grades matter? Yes, grades do matter. You do need certain grades to graduate, sometimes for employment, to continue taking classes here or whatever community college. Sometimes if you're getting in financial aid, right, they require a specific GPA or student programs. Can you challenge a grade? Yes, you can. And I mentioned this on Tuesday. If you're ever not satisfied with your grade, you can come talk to me. You can even talk to a counselor, and you can even go to the lengths of going to the office of, I don't know how to pronounce that, but this office, and it goes into more technical issues. But usually if you speak with your instructor, most likely they could, talk to you, and we could figure out a way to maybe improve your grade. So if anybody here ever feels like they want to challenge your grade, just come talk to me. How to calculate your GPA. So I will provide this form for anyone who's interested. I think this is really helpful. I really like to calculate my own GPA when I was a student. So if you're not sure how to do it, this document could be really helpful for you. And like, again, I'll provide it on the Canvas page so that if you want to, you can utilize it. And then some key takeaways. While success in college, make sure to have a positive way of thinking, right? That's kind of the main thing we were talking about. Having more of a growth mindset, being involved as best as you can, staying focused and motivated, as well as like time management, like all the other characteristics you guys mentioned as well. So just some takeaways in a nutshell. And today's quote of the day. So I went ahead and went with Daniel. He put, "The fears you don't face becomes your limits," by Robin Sharma. So thank you so much. For all the other students who gave me quotes, I will probably showcase them later, and I will be giving you 5 extra credit points. And for any new students in here today, I do give credit points for quotes of the day, and whatever I choose, I'll showcase it on the next class. And yeah, so thank you so much, Daniel, for submitting this quote. And that's pretty much it for today's class, okay? So hopefully you guys learned something about that in regards to positivity, growth and fixed mindset. And I know the grades part was kind of rushed, but I felt it was more important to talk about the other things versus just the grades. But again, if you do have questions about grading and things like that, feel free to ask me. From this point, again, it's 10 minutes before the class is going to end. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to stick around and ask me. If not, feel free to head out. Make sure, again, to do your assignment, which is the survey, which due September 7th. Okay. If you didn't, make sure to submit your discussion post. I've been going over it and responding to some. Thank you, by the way. You guys had really great recommendations. So if you haven't already, make sure to submit a discussion post. This just ensures if you're going to be in the class or not. And I just need to make sure to drop students. Next week, we're going to have class on September 7th and 9th, right? If you are able to make it to the Zoom session, feel free to come. And we're going to go over goal setting and motivation. All right. So thank you so much for everyone. Enjoy this long weekend. Yay. And I'll see you hopefully next week. All right. Take care.